Dan and Corey here, welcoming you in to Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Bell the Bodysnatcher will not be on camera today, but he is still on the ones and twos, and you might hear him pop in every once in a while. He is always his Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
This is Libservative. Should we tell the people why Bell? Should we tell the people why Bell is not going to be on camera today?
You know what, Bell? Do you want to tell him, or do you want us to give a
the fake reason or the real
reason?
Like
a bullshit ass reason.
Poison ivy made me do it.
There you go.
I'm fucking ugly.
Way less entertaining, but I was gonna go with it looks like he got hit by a truck. He looks like he got beat up by some cops at a fucking Palestine protest.
he looks like Jill Stein wishes she looked after that little mishap with the police.
Yeah, her story would have definitely went from a trending thing on Twitter to national media if she got a big old shiner from a cop.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Jill Stein was at Washington University in St. Louis in solidarity with the protesters.
She should have jumped in some poison ivy.
It would have helped because you look like you got beaten with a fucking whip.
Yeah, me and Dan thought maybe STDs. Well, Dan thought it. I didn't. I was like, no, Dan.
He's got that Al Capone syphilis.
The one eye and everything.
His face starts falling apart.
Well, damn.
He's like, tell me how you really
just bullshit. These idiots on.
But we hope he gets better. We miss his face on the camera with us, but we got his voice at least.
Yeah, Jill Stein was at a protest at Washington University in solidarity with Gaza, and we can't figure out on this show whether or not she did it for real reasons or she did it because she's Jill Stein and she needs to be seen as signaling her virtue. It's tough to know.
Not even signaling virtue, but just getting the press time.
That's press fair. Time.
This isn't the first time she's been in trouble with the law. This little rabble rouser at the right age of 76 also got busted for graffitiing on bulldozers at the Dakota Access Pipeline protest.
We can let those watching be the judge. I do have the little snippet of her. Hang on, I gotta remember how to share my screen. We could just
where they claim it was assault or whatever.
Nah, you can't really tell. Here.
I believe the cops did. I believe that this 76-year-old woman actually physically assaulted a police officer in full garb using a bike as a shield.
Do you now?
That cop was defending his life with that bike.
Here it is.
Hold the line now, hold the line.
There she is. She's eating that bike. That cop is forcing her to eat that bike.
That poor officer. that poor defenseless officer was just being mauled by her. I'll tell you what, Dan, this changes my whole perspective. If I have to choose between Jill Stein or a bear in the woods, I'm picking a bear.
It's like an abusive father who hits his kid and goes, "Why do you make me hit you?"
Boy, I just found an article from Michigan Advance saying that Jill Stein was actually in Dearborn Heights doing the same shit in March. Just gonna throw that out there.
She was marching in March.
Marching in March. So
no,
make sure you show that solidarity.
Well, she is in the Green Party. I feel like this is something right up her alley.
She tries to be.
What were
Well,
you saying,
yeah.
Bill?
I mean, who knows? Like,
she's-
like how many times is she doing these things where it's not gone viral, where she's actually out there like protesting for something that's a common good? That's why
Dude,
I
I'm not gonna
sympathize with
lie,
the
man.
Palestinian
That cop,
protesters.
that cop was making her fucking munch on the frame of that bicycle. That thing was
He had no
all
choice,
up in her
man.
dentures.
He had no
I
choice.
understand.
That
I understand.
76-year-old rabble rouser, repeat offender, violently went after him.
Stop resisting.
That's what she was telling him. She was just manhandling him.
It's
He
one of those
probably
interesting
looked
things,
like
too.
Belle after that altercation.
It's one of those interesting things too, because it's like we can always sit here and discuss like whether or not the law is just or not. But it does seem that a lot of these protests, I'm not really sure about the one at Wash U, but a lot of these protests are actually like blockading public spaces. And you can't do that. Like, that's not part of your free speech rights.
I know
You don't get
think
to
that.
blockade
you
public
went on a
spaces.
whole tangent about blocking traffic last week.
Well, yeah, no, it actually is against the law. Like, you can't.
Yeah,
block-
you can't. No, it's a safety reason. You know what I mean? You can't
You-
block entrances and exits. No, there's laws like that in place, like for a reason.
And you
Because
can't stop.
the Triangle
You can't
Shirtwaist
stop
Factory.
others, and you can't
fire.
stop others from utilizing public spaces.
Right.
There's a reason it's a public space.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey, boys.
apparently Jill Stein said that they accused the cops and this is where I definitely believe Jill Stein, where she goes, yeah, they accused us of assaulting them because I think she was on with Glenn Greenwald yesterday, and forgive me for not remembering exactly what her verbiage was when she was talking to Glenn, but it was something to the effect of, when the cops were forcing her to munch on that bicycle frame, she started to like fall and like grabbed one of the cops to stop herself from falling. And according to her, that
By the
caused police
neck.
officer-
No, I'm just kidding.
caused the police officers to say that she assaulted them. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. There's not enough
Allegedly.
video.
Oh,
Go ahead,
Dad,
Bill.
always
Jill
believe the
Stein.
police.
Jill Stein said to News Nation Prime, "Today I have really sore ribs. I'm going to the emergency room to see whether I have a rib fracture because they were using their bikes as weapons."
Yeah. So you see what
Damn
I'm saying
straight.
about like
73.
the sort of
what
phony, the
happens.
sort of, you see what I'm saying about like the sort of phoniness to it. Like, now Jill Stein gets to make the media rounds again. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying she planned that,
Right. No,
but you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. You saw what
I'm not a huge fan of
video,
Jill Stein.
like that's a tactic you'll see them do with when there's like rallies, the police first clash. You like the longer video. We didn't watch that video, but they literally they push everyone into a group like that. And then when people like stumble out, you know, and like fall out of it because they're compacted so tight, the police swarm and pick people off one by one.
Hmm.
And it's just one of the tactics that they do for shit like that.
Well, good for them. They're doing their jobs, Corey.
God
Protecting and serving.
Back to blue, brother. Back to blue. I don't question authority no matter what.
Oh, Corey, what did you
Even
learn
these
this
kids,
week?
like, how dare these kids go out there and be pissed off that people are being carpet bombed their entire
It's
lives?
terrible. Because they're anti-Semites, Corey. That's why they're terrible.
That's what it
terrible,
is.
disgusting anti-Semites. We're going to get into that. We're definitely going to discuss. I don't think we came into this week expecting to discuss the protests on these college campuses again, but they continue to go on. They continue to escalate in some areas and not in others. It's a super nuanced situation, and we actually kind of made fun of ourselves earlier this week on social media because Thomas Massey had tweeted about how this was a huge distraction from things that matter. And to a degree, I actually agree with Thomas Massey on that. But to another degree, this is a fucking free speech issue, and that also matters.
Yeah.
So,
But real quick,
why don't you tell the people where they can find us, Corey?
Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
And what did you learn this week, Corey?
Things learned. We're doing things learned. You know what I learned today, Dan?
Today. You
At
just learned this just
30
today. I'm impressed.
cents. Well, not today, but it is today when we're talking, right?
Yeah.
38
usually.
cents on every dollar. Yeah. 38 cents on every dollar that the American government spends is to debt.
Okay. I actually expected that number to be higher.
38 cents. 38 cents on every dollar.
Yeah, I expected that.
So that's 38 million on like 100 million.
Yeah, I expected that to be
billion.
higher.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I get it. So this is good news for you then, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's good news. You're right. Absolutely.
Breaking news. Dan thinks it's great that the government spends 38 cents on every dollar in debt relief.
It's just a smaller bowl of shit.
That's true. But it's insane to me that we've gotten to this point, that 38 cents.
It's just bullshit.
Let me say that at 6:15 in the morning. That 38 cents of every dollar goes to our debt. So we're really only spending 72 cents of every dollar that is being promised to different programs, that is actually going to programs that might help poor people, to infrastructure. But at the same time, at least it's only 78 cents on every dollar versus every dollar going to dropping bombs on people in brown people in other countries, huh? See that light coming in just on my nose?
Yeah, it's really adorable. I thought you planned that. Just to get the Tricons to listen. Maybe that's Jesus coming through the window to save you.
No, I'm like E.T., but instead of my finger, it's my nose, and I gotta touch all your wounds with my nose.
Yeah. What's really great news about your little ratio there of debt to actual things that matter. That just effectively that just means your dollar, every dollar in your pocket, is worth 78 cents. It's not really worth $1. I expected it to be worth 50 cents, but here we are.
Yeah, because it's not going in. Yeah, because every dollar you spend. I get what you're saying. Yeah, because every dollar.
Why can't we just print more?
Was that Biden or was that Trump talking? But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's because
will become a member of NATO.
Because every dollar you put into the economy, only 78 cents of it is getting spent. Or every tax dollar you spend, I guess.
On what? On what?
67 Corvette.
Thank you, Joe. I figured we would
all the sound bites.
We get in there, get Joe Biden in there to tell us what was going on. He did tell us what happened to his uncle, though, and it really.
Oh yeah, I got that in the. I got that written down for a weekly roundup lightning round thing.
Okay, we can hold off on that. What I learned this week, Corey, it wasn't so much a learn thing as it's I don't want to piss off Brett Weinstein, so I'm going to call this a hypothesis because he really hates when people misuse the word theory, even though colloquially that term has kind of changed definitions. But we'll call it. I've called it my 5-to-1 theory, right? So and it has to do with sort of, I guess, what you would call former friends of mine. I'm not going to get into the details of how this friendship ended. They weren't really close friends in the first place because I thought they were shitheads. But anyway, they're the type of people that, what's the word? They always find reasons to make something somebody else's fault. I mean, we all know people like this, right?
Yes.
Whenever they do something shitty to you or to somebody else, they always make it somehow seem like it was the other person's fault that they did the shitty thing to them. Like, if you weren't this way, I wouldn't have done that thing to you.
Yeah.
They're the type of people that have like no friends left anymore.
Like, well, if that guy didn't park behind me the way he did, I wouldn't have backed into his car.
Yeah, that kind of shit. So they don't have many friends left. And it got me to thinking, like, how many people do I know like this? And how many of these types of people do I still have in my life? And the answer is like approaching zero, because you cut that toxicity out of your life at some point, right? Or at least you should, and some people don't do it. But it brought me to my 5-to-1 theory. I think if you meet 5 people, on average, you're going to like 4 of them, and you're not going to like the 5th. Not even necessarily because they're a bad person, just your personalities don't mesh. You just don't like that person. And if you find yourself being like my former friends there, and just finding reasons to dislike everybody, and your ratio is more than 1 in 5, you're the problem.
Okay.
Something you should pay attention to. And by the way, it works both ways, right? So 5 people meet you. 4 of them are probably going to like you. 1 of them's not going to like you.
If 4 of them don't like one, does like, there might be something wrong.
Yeah, and it's not like literally I just met 5 people and you got to like sit down and do the math. It's just a ratio, right? Like you might meet 4 people in a row that you don't like, but then you might meet 20 in a row that you do. That's my 5-to-1 theory, or my 1 in 5 theory. Like if you dislike more than 1 out of every 5 people, you're probably the problem, not the other people. What do you think about my theory?
I like your theory. We'll have to do a survey.
I'm sorry, a hypothesis. I guess I don't want to upset.
Yeah, this is untested, so it's a hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
How would you collect data on that?
I don't think you could. Like, I don't even think it's doable. I don't think there's an experiment we could do on this. Other than just getting people into a room and watching their interactions and tallying who doesn't like who. But you'd have to get like various different personality types in there, right? Like you'd have to get like super type A, like introverts, extroverts, type B personalities. It wouldn't be easy. It would be like doing an epidemiological study on the effects of cholesterol in your diet.
Right. Yeah, it would have to be. At first, I was about to say it had to be a room full of people like me, and I would like everyone in the room. But then I was like, wait a minute, no, because everyone would just be probably trying to talk over each other. It would just be a fucking mess.
No, you'd have to get all sorts of different personality types in there. And I feel like I'm in that spot, right? I feel like I meet 5 people. I usually like 4 of them.
Put me in a room full of mimes. I love all of them.
Okay. Yeah, because you'll be doing all the talking.
Yeah, and they can't even tell me to shut up.
They'd all be facial expressions.
I'll be putting up just walls in front of me the whole time, just miming me in a box.
Go fuck yourself.
Bell, do you have a things learned this week other than to like
sign language?
Other than stay away from poison ivy. What else did you learn this week?
Well, I just learned that not everybody likes me.
All right, George Costanza.
It's mostly because of what your face looks like currently.
I know.
You caught the ugly.
No, but what I will say is things learned. It's more of a things you should learn as a listening audience.
Leaves
How to
Find
the fuck out what poison ivy looks like. Make sure it doesn't
Leaves
smack you in the eye. And then fuck off from it. And
you know what probably happened, Bell? Like, you probably didn't actually physically touch it to your eye. You probably like leaned against a tree that had a vine or something, and you didn't realize it because the vines are tricky.
I know,
and
bastards. I used to not be sensitive to it at all, man. I used to like move it out of the way for people and shit, like rip it out of the ground for motherfuckers. No, not now. I like smell it, and it's like, dude, it's in my nostril and shit. It's fucking terrible.
You smelled it.
I'm mad at poison ivy.
You probably got it on your hands, touched your face a bunch, and then went and took a leak, and then it just got fucking everywhere.
Yeah. I did wash one of my hands when I got home and shit too, which it makes me even more mad. I'm just mad.
The damage was already done.
Mad.
Next time before
you take nature, a leak, I'm mad too, Bell.
Just poison ivy. I like nature.
Wait. Bell, next time I'm gonna learn from this because you said things people should learn. I have learned now that what I should do is before I take a leak, if I'm in the woods, piss all over my hands first, and then use the ammonia from the urine to clean it all off,
dude,
and then hold my dick.
Sound advice.
Always piss on your hands.
See now what I have.
Hell, even when you're at the bar. I mean, who knows what's floating around in there and then those cesspools.
No,
There's a whole new different type of AIDS.
There's a shit. We're not
You
sponsored.
think this will solve COVID?
It's called Technu. They got wipes now and shit. So I'm just gonna, keep one of them boys on me for the rest of my life.
He's gonna stay strapped.
Bell's walking through fucking Newark. He's like walking through the Newark airport and he's scrubbing down with this poison ivy wipes.
Whatever, dude. Apparently the shit is everywhere.
He's just
Apparently
on the
if I'm in
moving sidewalk,
100-foot
his
fucking
hands.
vicinity of it, it gets on my dick and balls, and like it's just.
I've had poison ivy on my
All
dick
right.
and balls, man. I know the feeling. It sucks.
And I'm
Boy, I
done.
hope he's qualified.
Did I ever tell you that story, Dan? I got poison
No.
ivy on my dick and balls so bad that I was in class scratching at it, and people thought I was jacking off in class. In 7th grade or 8th grade, maybe. So that was a fun rumor to have to deal with.
These idiots.
I think I cried. I probably cried. Like
Yeah, you
7th or
probably
8th grade. Everyone,
I probably would have cried.
everyone's like, that's the kid that was jacking off in class. No, I wasn't. I have poison
No.
ivy. What am I supposed to do? Show him?
Yeah.
To
Well,
prove it?
Depends how young were you.
It was like 7th or 8th grade.
Okay, that's a little too old. You can't be whipping out your schwanz
No.
in the middle of class. Yeah, but if you're in 1st grade or something, maybe you could have gotten away with it. Yeah, we all do things like that.
What flashed our dicks? In the
Yeah,
first
show you
grade?
mine if you show you mine if you show me yours. What do we have here, Corey? We're going to continue on with the protests taking place all across the country, because last week when we first started talking about it, it was kind of just a new thing, and now like all I'm learning from these as these protests go on and on and on, and they're at different colleges all across the country. The only thing I'm learning is that fucking nuance is a thing. Like I could have told you that was the case, because what do we have? We have both sides. I mean, really mostly just the pro-Israel side, honestly, because that's kind of what you see. Kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Boxing everybody into the same, compartmentalizing everybody into the same box. And it's maybe the most nuanced subject that we've come across in quite a while, I think, because you certainly have certain protests that have certain voices, I guess, that are certainly kind of towing that line of anti-Semitism. Like it's not like a completely it's not like a completely crazy thing. Right. It's not like a complete, it's not like what I was saying pre-show, right? If I'm a Jewish student on a college campus right now, and I've got a mob of people in front of me that are shouting like down with Zionism, whatever they actually mean by it, right? They're angry. They're screaming down with Zionism and down with America. If I'm a Jewish student, yeah, that might be intimidating. I'm not even going to try to pretend like that is an irrational place to be if you're a Jewish student on a college campus right now, depending on which one, because like I said, all of these protests seem to be so much different. Like some of them are kind of quiet and just basically popping up tents and, being civilly disobedient and breaking the law in certain other ways, but like not intimidating people. And then you see other videos of where they are. And so,
erupts.
Yeah, that's happened in a couple of situations.
That's the important question to that is like when the violence erupts, I guess, and we should have did the homework on this, is who initiated it?
Not the cops, Corey. It's never the cops.
No, I told you. I told you that already.
Always trust the cops.
Always trust the police. Back the blue, brother. Back the blue.
But yeah, so I have a few videos here because these things, I mean, obviously they're anecdotal, but they kind of put things a little bit into context.
And before you do that, or actually while you're getting that ready, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead while I get it ready.
Well, like when we talk about the nuance and stuff, when it comes to these protests, is yes, there is violence, but there is also very peaceful protests happening, and to lump the two together is absurd. And the perfect example of this is if, let's say, you're on the right and you're listening to our show right now, and you're on the right, and you think they should be lumped into each other. Think about January 6th. On January 6th, there was two very, very different experiences happening in that Capitol building. On the front side of the building, you see the video of it, police holding the doors open and letting people in. And in the video of those people coming in, they looked like they were on fucking tour of the Capitol building. They were out there inside the building, staying within the ropes, and just taking pictures of the rotunda and taking pictures of themselves and each other while they're walking through. But on the back end is where you see all the videos of the violence and the police and the people literally looking like Spartans fighting in a civil war, with shields pushing against each other, yelling "heave ho," and a person gets shot,
Heave ho.
and there's tear gas, and people are beating the shit out of each other. Those were two different protests, I would say, happening lumped together. It was at the same place, but the front did not have the same mindset and mentality as the people in the back. And it's important that I bring this up. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is for people on the right, is to add context to the protests that are happening on the left. And to hopefully, if anyone on the left is listening, it adds context to the people on the right. Because when people get together under the same mindset, you get that mob mentality, and people start acting wild and acting crazy. But because they're all there under the same not even the same ideology. People are always there for different things. It's a group. It becomes, instead of single organisms, it becomes one giant organ moving together, I guess is what I'm looking at saying. It got a little clunky in the end.
Uh-oh.
You got that video?
We're losing you, Corey. Or are you losing me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, yeah, you were cutting out there for a second. I'm going to play this video. This is actually one Corey sent to me. And again, we're going to provide some context to this one. You know where this one was at, Corey? Which protest this was at?
Let me see.
It's not really that important, honestly. It was at one of them. Anyway, here we go.
Is not in harm's way. Nobody is going to hurt them. Nobody is going to attack them. This person is not in harm's way.
They are free to leave.
Nobody is going to hurt them. Nobody is going to attack them. This person is not in harm's way.
Yes, they're right in front of me right now. They're putting signs.
This person is not in harm's way.
I need funds, genocide. I need help. I know that, but they're surrounding me. They won't let me move.
No, you are free to move. You are free to move. She is free to move.
You are free to move. You are free to move.
She's free to move. She's free to leave. She is free to leave. No one is surrounding her.
Nobody is surrounding you.
She is free to leave.
You are free to leave.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's Russian University. These are students. They're surrounding me. I can take a video.
She's free to leave. No one is surrounding her.
No one is surrounding her.
No one is surrounding her.
I'm just walking my dog. I need help.
She's free to leave.
I'm a Jewish American. I need help. Please come and help me. I'm wearing a white Adidas shirt. I have a dog with me. Okay, dog. I need help.
Okay, so interesting, right? Because the first thing I think of is, I guess just for people who are just listening, this was a video of a Jewish woman walking her dog,
an American Jewish
to the
woman.
police. Yeah, that's right, an American Jewish woman walking her dog, claiming that she's surrounded by people that are threatening her. The video doesn't appear as if anybody is threatening her. But the first thing I thought of, Corey, when you sent this to me and I started watching it, was the Central Park Karen video. Do you remember this, Belle? Do you remember this?
Yeah,
the Central Park Karen video. So the Central Park Karen was a woman who called the cops and accused I can't remember the guy's name, but a large black man who was a bird watcher in Central Park of threatening her. And she was accused of being a Karen, obviously Central Park Karen, being a racist, overreacting. And the video that the gentleman who she was accusing of threatening her, he was the one shooting the video. And in that video, it looks like she's being fucking crazy. It looks like she's being nuts. And then you come to find out, months down the road or whatever it took, he actually was threatening her before that video started. Is this another one of those situations? Is this a situation where they were threatening her? Because I don't know if you saw the one sign. I couldn't read it, but it definitely said something like Jews support something or something. Not Israel. It said Jews on the sign. I don't know if you caught that.
Like Palestine?
No, it said Jews support. I don't know what the sign said at the bottom because I don't think you can read it, but it's like Jews support genocide or something like that. So, like, was this a situation like the Central Park Karen where she was being threatened and called the police? But we don't know that because these people didn't start the video until after she called the cops and went, "Hey, look, this lady's crazy. She's accusing us of threatening her." You always have to be careful.
I think it says Jews call for divestment.
Is that what it says? Okay, then you're right. Then that's not threatening.
Because that's what a lot of the protests are about, like at Columbia.
Yeah, it's about divesting in Israeli companies, which by the way is dumb. That's a stupid thing to call for. Like Israel's got a lot of great companies. I got a fucking SodaStream, dude. Thing's great. Love it. We all like to use Waze.
Can you
we all like to use Airbnb.
Oh, is Airbnb also Jewish?
Isn't Airbnb, Bell? Look that up for us. Airbnb is an Israeli company, isn't it?
Say, can you name three more besides those three?
I mean, we like these companies, right?
You want to know who owns Airbnb?
Is it originally an Israeli company? Is what we're trying to figure out.
Is it what you're trying to figure? Like, okay.
Corey, you keep cutting out like crazy, buddy.
Am I really? I'm not even getting the Wi-Fi thing.
As long as we can still hear you, it's okay.
It's probably Xfinity coming after you because
because I threatened
to
cancel their services before the show. But no, the divestment thing is really stupid, right? Because I think Hannah Cox made this point from Base Politics. It's like, of all of the stupid and shitty things that America does around the globe, like, we don't divest from American companies. Like, it's just like Israel has just as much of a right to have a free market as we do. Like, divesting in their companies isn't saying anything to their government. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a dumb. It's just kind of a dumb angle. I'm not really supportive of that.
Yeah. It's the Bhagavad saying like
Airbnb was founded in San Francisco.
Was it? Okay, it wasn't Airbnb that I was thinking of. Then.
Like it's from like the Bhagavad Gita or some, but it's like your passion is real, but it serves no purpose. Like you understand the passion behind it, but it's just not doing nothing. It's something along those lines.
Corey, we're losing you
again.
It's him, right, Bell?
I'm not losing him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I can hear you, and I can hear Bell.
They don't want us. They just don't want us communicating, Corey, because Bell can hear me. Bell's gonna have to be the middleman for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
What did he say? What?
Yeah. So
anyway,
these protests, so we're talking about that one who could potentially be an agitator, could potentially be a Karen. We need more facts. We're not going to jump to conclusions either way. But
right.
And then wow, I really lost my train of thought there. Oh, I was going to get onto That's funny. Okay, I was going to get onto like this one needs more context because again, it could be an agitator. It could be a
right.
You know, it could be, or it could be someone who's a Karen, or it could be someone who is the opposite of the Central Park Karen or the Central Park Karen. Yeah, I'm just mumbling.
Yeah, just take a lesson from the Central Park Karen incident because this could be one of those. I don't think we know yet. We might not find out. I don't know. I don't know how viral this video is, but anyway.
But I have one right here.
Do you have another one for us, Corey?
Yeah. Where this is a good example of the actual like agitators that I'm talking about. So in this video, you'll see this is like these counter protesters just show up, and after they started shouting this stuff, I guess the police moved in and arrested a bunch of people.
Oh, you haven't shown me this one yet. Okay, this is interesting. Oh no, you did show me this one. I got you. Yeah, so there's pro-Israeli protesters basically shouting for shouting kill the Jews.
Yeah. But like, so what's important to me for this video is like catching the response and the reaction from the crowd when these people who are pretending to be a part of them start shouting these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty disgusted. Are you going to play it? Or there's no sound playing. I don't know if you know that, Corey. Yeah, right? Hello?
Hello?
There's no sound playing on the video. I hope you... No.
Belle, can you hear sound?
Come on!
What the hell is going on here?
I cannot hear this video.
You cannot hear the video?
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
Damn it.
We can basically describe what's going on here. It's a pro-Palestinian protest. I don't think it says which. I think was it the NYU one or one? It doesn't matter which one it was. But there's some pro-Israelis that show up with a Israeli flag, and as the pro-Palestinians are trying to figure out what they want their chant to be, right? As you so often do at a protest, the pro-Israelis suggested kill the Jews, right? So they're essentially trying to get these pro-Palestinian protesters to actually say anti-Semitic shit.
Let's try it now. Can you hear it now?
There we go. We got it. We got it.
That means you repeat to me what I say to you. Got it? Got it.
Okay. Kill the Jews. Anybody on board? Anybody on board? You just chanted for it. You just chanted for it. Yeah, back to the wall. We're gonna let them leave. We're gonna let them leave. We're gonna give them a call. We're gonna give them a call. We're gonna let them leave. We're gonna let them leave. Everybody got it? Got it. All hail, honorable leader, Qatari government, who's paying our bills, Qatari government. All hail the Qatari government, who pays our bills and pays our protests.
But anyways, so then they go on and they start saying more and more shit, and they're talking about what they're ultimately doing is trying to get everyone agitated up and stuff like that, and the people just weren't biting. So this is an example of what I was saying, how there's nuance to these protests, how on some sides there are people who aren't actually being violent and aggressive, and now then there are parts that are. All right, and then we got to I got to share this.
You got one more?
Real quick. No, I'm going to share this right here. What is this? Live action Beavis and Butthead. Biden is the man. Little Biden bros. This is news to me. I didn't know you boys were little Biden bros.
They must be new to the show.
Is that, you like Biden there, Dan?
I'm going to tell you one thing. If we're Biden bros, this country is in big trouble.
If we're Biden bros,
or I should say
as the terrorists who haven't killed anyone.
I should say, if we're Biden bros, Biden has no chance to win the election.
What? Us telling people that he sucks?
If we're Biden supporters.
Like us voting.
Don't get bogged down by all the haters out there.
And then this guy must be talking about one of you two. There's no way he's talking about me. The political literate. You are barely literate.
I do struggle to read sometimes. It's fine. I struggle.
And then it's funny. Then he said this about, when you lose the petrodollar, your living standards will decline by 57%. That's interesting because I was going to talk about this today, but I'm just going to bring it up real quick right now.
All right, go for it.
Right now,
Not
the
done yet.
government, Biden's administration, since apparently we have to explicitly say we don't like Biden, or else it gets people upset that their opinions aren't reaffirmed right away.
No shit.
Should we just have that in the bottom ticker? We don't like Trump. We don't like Biden.
Just a
Stop
disclaimer.
commenting that you think we're one or the other.
Don't get
Just
bogged
because
down
we
by all
couldn't
the haters
talk shit
out
about
there.
him the last 30 seconds on your first time ever being on the fucking show. Thanks for the follow. Because they have to follow to comment. But he goes, when you lose your petrodollar, living standards decline of 57%, and you're absolutely right, and it's bullshit. And one of the very people who's causing this to happen is Biden himself, because now he's making legislation to take Russian assets from Russians and Russian people to help fund the Ukraine war, because that's got to help fund foreign wars, right? But what this is doing is it's making all these other countries that are friends with us that trade on the US dollar more leery about the US dollar, because now they realize that their assets can just be seized at any moment. Okay, that's why you're seeing BRICS come up. So, yeah, I do know that when we lose the petrodollar, our living standards will decline by 57%. Charlie Clencher, thank you for fucking reminding me and ruining my goddamn evening.
We were gonna have fun tonight. That's what we were gonna do.
Yeah, thanks a lot. The opinion goes, they don't care. They want Biden for life. What life? His life? He's gonna live maybe another 3 months. Anyways,
I guess back to the topic at hand. Just going back to the nuances of these protests. A lot of what I'm seeing, right, is the pro-Israeli side talking about all of these protests as if they're pro-Hamas. Like, that is the dishonest statement that you see. And I think we mentioned last week when we first started talking about these protests, like, I don't necessarily support the people that are doing the protests, because I personally think college kids are idiots, and I don't really want them being the voice of my cause because of the way that they message the cause.
they're I don't know who their fucking marketing agent is, but it's terrible. So you have these college kids out there, and what are they chanting? Yes, they're shouting "From the river to the sea," right? This is something that the pro-Israel side likes to talk about all the time. From the river to the sea. It's in Hamas's charter, and it's anti-Semitic. What's interesting to me is so many of the folks on the pro-Israeli side are the same people that were rightfully getting on the progressive left over, it doesn't matter what the context is, words or violence. It doesn't matter what you meant to say. It's about what actually came out of your mouth. That's all that matters, right? That's all that cares. Your words are violence. And these same people are playing that same fucking card about, if you chant "From the river to the sea," you are obviously pro-Hamas and you want to genocide all Jews. The interesting thing about that is that none of the people that are saying that are actually talking to the college kids on the ground doing, yes, what I think is kind of a silly protest in a lot of ways. But they're not actually talking to these people. So when you see people that actually go out and talk to these kids, I mean, I guess they're anecdotal, but anecdotes are still data points, right? You watch these videos of these reporters asking these kids, well, what does "from the river to the sea" mean? And what are most of them saying? Most of them are saying that they want a secular Israel, right? They don't want it to be a Jewish state, and they want Palestinians to be free. They're looking for a secular Israel. Now, you can have a debate about whether or not Israel should be a Jewish-run state or whether or not it should be secular. That's actually a debate I would be willing to listen to. I think that would be an interesting thing to listen to from both sides. I'm not saying they're right in what they're saying, but it is so clearly not the same thing that it means when you read it out of Hamas's charter. Stop fucking pretending like it's the same thing. It's context, it's intent,
And if you're going to sit there and say that those things matter when you say a man is never a woman or whatever the thing is, then it should apply here as well.
Yeah, the context is important. And going back to
I'm gonna bounce out and come back in. I keep losing Corey, but I think it's my end. I'll be right back, boys.
I think it's your end, bud. This is a goddamn Mickey Mouse organization tonight, boys. But so going back to what he was saying about how like this context and everything is important, because it is. For example, the video I shared that didn't have audio but did now. The video I shared showed clear agitators coming into a protest and trying to ruffle feathers to get people's response, because then they in turn can use this video footage for a narrative that they're trying to spin. I've been to a couple of protests, not for the Gaza or the Israel protests, but I've been to protests in the past for different events. And I have witnessed firsthand agitators showing up and doing things like this. For example, it was a BLM run protest, which we have a lot to say about BLM, and how it was like this corporate sponsored basically protest. And just because it was such a big thing and promoted so much by the city because BLM was involved, agitators showed up. And when they had the moment where everyone gets their turn to speak their grievances into the loud mic, a girl with an American flag tried to go up there and sing the national anthem. And, you know, you could say, oh, but she just wanted to sing the national anthem. But you know what she was doing. And you see these things at protests all the time. You have to, if you look up videos, you see agitators at these protests, and what they're designed to do is to kick shit up and make shit look worse for TV. And that's all I got to say about that.
I don't know, buddy. I don't know what's going on with this feed, but I'm hearing literally 50% of what you're saying. Yeah. Do we have any other videos that we wanted to play?
Oh, I got one. I got one for us. Moving on from this Israel shit that we keep saying we're not going to talk about, but keep end up talking about.
It's a free speech issue. It is.
It is.
It's a First Amendment issue,
right? Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I support their right to protest. We don't have to agree with what they're saying. But like, if you don't like people protesting, then you have a problem with the First Amendment, because just like people on the right or people on any left or right are allowed to say whatever the fuck they want, or how you think that the people you agree with should be able to say whatever the fuck they want. I should rephrase myself. The other side gets that right too. And as soon as you try to take their right, and then because eventually the shit libs or the neocons, either side gets in power and tries to take rights from the other side. And the snowball just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Isn't that interesting too? And now there's talk of bringing the National Guard because that worked so well in the 60s.
Kent State. We want the terrorists to win, says the opinionator.
Anyway.
This guy's cracking me up. Newsflash.
You gotta love this one. I love these comments because it's like, we've done 400 fucking episodes. Somebody listens for 30 seconds and it's like, you dirty leftists, you.
As we shit on the government and praise the Constitution.
Dirty
extremist,
leftists,
liberal extremist stream. We want the terrorists to win.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we do kind of want the terrorists to win because we are, the United States is in some ways certainly a terrorist state. We like to bomb people in other countries
the United Terrorists
for our own malicious gains.
So
sure, yeah, I guess in some ways we want the terrorists to win. That's not a completely inaccurate thing to say. Anyway, you got another video for us, Corey?
Yes. Here we go. Old Democrats yell at young voters again. Because like old Clinton twice now.
Oh, buddy,
all the Trump supporters basket of deplorables. Because
I am fighting through this stream right now. Fighting through.
I know, that's wild, man. That's insane. Switch to your hotspot or something. I don't know what to tell you. You pissed off big. You pissed off big Xfinity. the Xfinity industry.
I did. I pissed off Big Cable.
All because they took your Bally Sports away.
Yeah.
So if you guys
Now we're
remember a
good.
few years back, like when Trump was running the first time, Hillary Clinton in her apparently what she thought was a big brain comment called half of Americans deplore a basket of deplorables.
Right.
And then she was confused why she didn't win the 2016 election. So again, you come up into the 2024, she tells those same voters, not the voters she's trying to win the election, but her actual base, to get over it, because all the young voters hate Biden. Because, that'll win them over. But now we got old James Carville here, who, Jesus, this guy looks like he's as old as Biden. Oh, okay, 1 second. I gotta go like
he might be
again.
older. James Carville?
older.
How old is James Carville?
Hey, Bella.
I'll look him up.
All right, you look it up.
I'll look him up real quick.
What? I'm right here.
We were gonna ask you how old
He's
was James
jerking off.
Carville.
He's not on camera.
Yeah.
He's
He
born
probably
October
is.
5th, 1944.
So he's like 80,
He's 79.
79. About like, yeah, 79, also known as like 80.
He looks like the fucking crypt keeper in this video, dude. He looks terrible.
So here you go. He's got a news flash.
Oh,
for all you
and he's always wearing an LSU shirt. Always, James Carville.
Is he?
Always.
I didn't
He
notice that.
looks
I've
like
never known that.
fucking Fetterman when he steps on the House floor or the Senate floor.
News flash for all the extremist liberals.
Are you kidding me? Is this the United States of America? Is this the nation that was founded on the principle that no person is above the law? And then you tell these young people, if you don't get involved right now in this election, they're going to be involved in your life for the rest of your freaking life. And if Trump and Roberts and Alito and Gorsuch and Thomas and Leonard Leo
Go fuck yourself.
and the Heritage Foundation, if they get a hold, there will be no government left. There'll be no rights left.
No government.
You'll live
Awesome.
under theocracy. You'll end up with Christian nationalism. But that's all right, you little fucking 26-year-old. You don't feel like the
26-year-old.
election's important to me. They're not addressing the issues that I care about. Well, the New York Times a story about the Harvard Youth Poll, which is a pretty good, well-regarded thing. A guy named John Della Volpe.
Don't care.
Very recently,
Don't give a shit.
they gave youngsters the 15
Youngsters.
most important issues. Clocking in at number 14 was student debt. You wouldn't know that if you read the fucking press. Number 15.
This is what happened when you give
Syria,
old people
Palestine.
cocaine.
And TikTok.
Mhm.
High on the list was abortion, was interest rates, was housing affordability. Well, all of these other things. You are being insufficiently served by the commentariat, and to some extent, you're being insufficiently served through democratic messages. So my advice to tell these young people to get off your motherfucking ass and go vote, because you should vote like your entire future and the entire future of this United States depends on it. Because quite frankly, it does. And that's not an exaggeration.
James.
He thought he
Are you
nailed
done?
it.
Okay, he's done. He's finally fucking done. Dude, your message is 8 years too late. Your message of you have to vote for Biden or the country's going to go to shit because the fascists are going to take over. Nobody's buying that line of bullshit anymore. That's number one. And number two is
it's right out of the 2016 Democratic playbook.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. He sits there and he goes, okay, the things that I don't remember what poll he quoted, but the fact that interest rates are at the top of the list, the fact that abortion is at the top of the list for what's important to voters. Yeah, young people fucking know that, James. You don't need to tell us that. And what we do know is that the establishment, the fucking the Clintons that you worked for, the Bushes, the Obamas, the Trumps too, a little bit, and the Bidens, they're all a part of this fucking establishment that artificially lowered those interest rates for forever. Then a pandemic hits, and all of a sudden we're saddled with a huge huge
interest
inflation.
rates were lowered.
What I'm saying is, like, probably for a period of time, it doesn't matter. It's a cumulative effect, right? So you're sitting here and you're saying we need to stop worrying so much about, these lower tier polled things. I think you mentioned Palestine was number 14.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Like, young people are voting on the issues that he said the polling said was most important. What him and his establishment dumbass cronies don't understand is that we already know that. And we understand that the establishment is the reason we have these problems, and
your neoliberalism isn't going to fix it.
Oh, but the fascists are going to take over. If Trump gets in office, you're going to lose all your rights. Like, nobody's buying that line of bullshit anymore. How out of touch is James Carville as we sit here on May 1st, 2024?
Oh, wait. I almost started singing Crossroads, but I meant to sing
anything.
Wake up. It's the first of the month. But I was just Bone Thugs. When you said the first, it reminded me of that song. But yeah, no, it's literally the 2016 playbook and the 2020 playbook again. And this is why the Democrats love Trump, because they don't have to talk about policy, because all they talk about is orange man bad.
They just get to scare you into voting, quote unquote, voting against him. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what this is. Old Democrats yell at young voters again. Like, it's insane to me. Like, he talks about all the different things. What do you say about, like, housing and interest rates? And it's like, yeah, interest rates went up because of inflation, because Biden and Trump both threw $10 trillion into the economy over the past, almost 8 years. Like, no shit. 38 cents of our dollar is going to debt. No shit. And then instead of fixing the basic equilibrium of economics of supply versus demand, they're not petering demand by increasing supply. They're just increasing the money supply to make the demand go higher. And then Biden right now, like he said, one of his biggest issues was housing, right? What is Biden's response? We're going to give $5,000 to people. Actually, I tried to do it like a Bernie Sanders like voice there for some reason. It's just, come on, Jack.
No joke.
Just going to give everyone just $1,000. Everyone could buy a house.
Don't get bogged down by all the haters out there.
No, it's not, Biden. You're doing the same shit to the housing industry now that you and Obama did to the insurance industry, and that y'all did to the fucking college industries the past 24 fucking years, 30 years, 40 years, however long it's fucking been. When you decided, when you say we're going to give everyone $5,000, all you're doing is increasing the demand, because you're pulling from a pool of people who couldn't afford houses and throwing them into the pool of everyone else who is struggling to afford houses. And you're not increasing the supply of the houses. So then you're just raising the bar and making the finite supply of houses already on the market cost more. And then what's the next policy promise going to be? I'm going to raise that to 10,000. That's what you're going to fucking do? That's your response to keep just spending money? Sorry, I went off on a tangent because these Democrats
must be. No, that's great. That's what it's all about. I mean, it's young people voting on principle, James Carville. My goodness. How dare these 26-year-old jackoffs have some
principle over party? Get in line.
Weird, right?
Get over yourself.
And it's like,
you stupid motherfuckers.
Thanks, Hillary. Didn't she say that? Get over yourself.
Yeah, she said, get over yourselves.
Don't get bogged down by all the haters out there.
Thanks, George Santos. I needed that.
Man. I don't know, man. This has been a This episode's been an adventure for me because I've literally hear every other word Corey has said basically for the last hour and tried to kind of piece together what he said. I think I'm doing an okay job of it. But
sorry,
with
that
that being said, we should probably kill this bad boy. I think we covered everything.
We have 3 topics that we could talk about next week that we just won't get into tonight. But I got my weekly roundup lightning round thing.
Okay.
And so
Corey just sprung this on me just now.
Yeah. Just a quick rundown of just different things that I saw in the news that I thought were noteworthy. Volkswagen in Tennessee joined the UAW. All the workers there voted for it. It is now the first foreign company that it has a union in it in the South, especially in the South. That's pretty noteworthy.
We're letting the foreigners join unions now.
Well, foreign companies. Well, American workers in foreign companies.
Don't matter.
That mass grave in Mississippi found next to that prison that they were just like when, for example, one of the people they found was this guy who was hit by a cop car when he was walking, and the cops just buried his body in this mass grave.
Yeah,
and just when the family reported him missing, the police shrugged their shoulders and said they didn't know where he was, and they found like 100 or 200 or so bodies in there as well. No update on that yet. I just thought that's still worth noteworthy. Just to keep it in everyone's mind that there was fucking corrupt ass police burying bodies in the middle of the woods next to a prison.
No. They shouldn't have done the crime, Corey. They hadn't done the crime.
You're right. I forgot. We're back to blue today. Because of that goddamn Bill Jiden or fucking Jill Stein. That 75-year-old rabble rouser.
How many that rabble rouser? Oh God! I wish she had. I wish that bike had taken her out. I'm kidding.
I just wish she complied for once in her
if she had just complied
life.
Stop resisting.
So Dan doesn't remember talking about this. I don't know if Bell does, but like a year ago, there was a rancher on the southern border, and there was illegal immigrants, and there was the story itself was a little convoluted. They think that the cartel might have been chasing these people and shot one of them, but the prosecutor was also saying that this old man actually shot one of these illegal immigrants crossing the border onto his land. And it's a very big property rights issue, which is like kind of important in America. So this trial ended in a mistrial, which is probably good. I don't know if like it's up to the prosecutor to try to bring the trial back like to the courts. And then Biden's uncle was eaten by cannibals.
Oh wow. Well, that's the story of the weekend. Right there.
Yeah. Ambrose J. Finnegan.
It's complete bullshit.
Yeah, he inadvertently made a gaffe that was
bullshit.
He made a gaffe that was just about Papua New Guinea being full of cannibals, and that his uncle was flying a plane, and he said it was a single engine plane. You remember in the video, he says a single engine plane, and he was flying a plane, and he was shot down on D-Day and eaten by cannibals in Papua New Guinea. And what he did was he just pissed off the prime minister of Papua New Guinea. And right now, Papua New Guinea is a very strategic spot to have in the ever expanding elbowing of China and America, because it's one of the islands. Like if people don't know where Papua New Guinea is, it's off the coast of Mexico or Australia, not Mexico, off the coast of Australia. And it's one of the islands that are used when we talk about like
Americans
island hopping.
Can't point to Nebraska on a map, Corey. They don't know where the fuck Papua New Guinea is.
Well, it's one of the islands that was used. It's like the Solomon Islands, the Midway Islands. It's islands that are used as strategic.
I know where it is because I'm better than
that was used in World War II. And we've built relationships with these islands, but this island right now, actually, China is up their ass crack trying to offer them money and stuff like that. So it's an island that might change its allegiance, and it's an important one that we don't piss off if we want to have our bombers be able to land to refuel and retool.
All because Biden had to tell his grandpa story.
Dude, and fucking Dan, here's the thing about it. He wasn't eaten by cannibals and he wasn't shot down because he wasn't on a single engine plane. He was on a plane with 2 engines, and there was like 5 people on that plane, and both of the engines failed and the plane went down.
Semantics.
And they know this because someone survived and told them what the fuck happened.
Semantics, Corey. You listen to Grandpa Joe. He tells good stories.
Well, Grandpa Joe tells me some good stories before nap
If I see a
time.
black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Jesus. Thank you, Charlie Kirk.
Jesus, Ambrose J. Finnegan. Is that what he said before the plane went down?
Might have been what he said before the plane went down. He had it taken down.
And so that's what idiots. I have for the weekly roundup. Is your internet better?
It's better now that we're about to end the show, but I do
well,
have.
I
actually have one to add to that. If you would let me add something to your weekly roundup lightning round thing, because it's your thing. Kansas passed their own REINS Act in their state Congress, and then the Democratic governor. I'm not even saying this because she's a Democrat. I'm just saying this because she's a person in power and a member of the establishment. I think a Republican governor would have done the same. Fucking vetoed it. Mm-hmm. And then the best thing that could ever happen is a veto override back in either the United States Congress or a state Congress. But what this bill essentially is,
the Senate,
is it just ensures that legislatures, in this case, a state legislature in Kansas, actually are the lawmakers of the land, not unelected bureaucrats, not whatever giant corporations get to write bills and then have sent straight to either, in this case, a state Congress or our federal Congress.
Yeah, and if Bell, real quick, if you could look that up. If you could look that up real quick, Bell, I forget what it's called. It's like something AFTRA, or it's some event that all these politicians and lobbyists go to, and they get together and they basically just write policy.
And then have a big fucking orgy.
Probably.
Right after or during. Maybe
brother,
even during.
That's at the Owl. That's at the Owl Farm. This one's a little bit more hoity-toity suit and tie event.
But yeah, this is a great act, or a great bill that pretty much every state should pass, because we want actual lawmakers making our laws based on what their constituents want, not based on what their donors and unelected bureaucrats want, which is effectively the system that we have now federally. Make no mistake, that's how your laws are being written. They're not being written because of what you want.
I'm at this point, and it's like, if you really dive deep into like the founding fathers and stuff, like whenever there's legislation, I sometimes just think to myself, would this make the founding fathers happy? And this one definitely would.
Absolutely.
I would even argue that when slavery was abolished, as much shit that the founding fathers get, I feel like they'd be happy.
Yeah.
Like, except for the ones that had like slave owners in their pockets. I'm not going to lie and say would all be happy. I'm sure there was some that would lose buku bucks, but when it came to the
slave owners lobby, that had to be a thing.
It had to have been.
Had to be a huge.
Oh, dude, it was a huge whole fucking industry. I mean, we're talking about boats, like mariners,
free labor,
shipyards. Yeah, the free labor party.
Yeah,
didn't get much. They got zero representation, but they were there.
It's just bullshit.
You had one more for your weekly roundup lightning round?
No,
thing,
I
or
don't.
Was Bell looking something up for us? Oh, you didn't have one more, or was that the one? Did I steal your thunder?
No.
Okay.
I was just wondering. I forget what it's called, but it's like something AFTRA or is it like Berg? Something Berg or Berg.
You're just saying words. Actually, you're just saying names.
All right, keep talking. I'm gonna look this up.
I don't want to keep talking. I don't have anything left to say.
This has been a 9-minute lightning round.
9 minutes?
9-minute lightning round.
I mean, considering how long Corey and I
but
both
we went over like 5 topics.
I know, it's good.
Yeah, we did.
Boy, I hope he's qualified.
We're just gonna stare at Corey with our mouths open.
He's staring back.
I can't find it.
I don't.
But it's like the Berg
That's
Warner.
fine.
Maybe it's Berg Warner. No, that's a company.
You're just saying names now.
Event where politicians and lobbyists,
These idiots,
write legislation.
It's the Staff Act. It's not. I just made that word up. But I bet you if you said that to like a guy on the street, they would believe you because nobody knows.
The
We don't even
Staph
know.
Act. It's a staph infection.
We ain't found shit.
Corey's cutting out again. I might leave the show early tonight.
Alec is what it is. The
Alec,
American
you were way off.
Yeah, I was way off. I couldn't remember what it was. I actually, in the beginning, I was like AFTRA or something like that. But no, ALEC is the American Legislative Exchange Council, and it provides a forum for state legislators and private sector members to collaborate on model bills. That's where most of our legislation is written, at the ALEC events.
And there's a guy named Alec who's a power bottom, and he's having a great time at this event for sure.
Yeah, power bottom. He sits on the bottom, but he provides all the thrust.
Right. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. That's not a sexual thing. Never was. Corey, why don't you tell the people where they can find us?
Okay. The sort of
He doesn't have it in
podcast.
front of him.
Live Sort of Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is
Yourself.
libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, Instagram and Twitter at LibServativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
I don't know how I made it through.
Thanks for following, throwing comments in. You put
And
a
somebody
fire under my
please-
ass. I felt like when I
somebody-
started in, I was like low energy, and then the opinionator and Charlie Clencher came in and started talking shit.
We
And it
need
put a
that.
fire under my ass, and then I kind of woke up after.
Need that. I was waiting for the anti-Trump people to come in and say that we were Trump supporters, because I always love when we get both of those in the same episode. It's great.
It happens more often.
Oh,
than
by
not.
the way, somebody check in on James Carville. Seriously, like somebody go pay him a wellness check, because I don't think he's doing well right now. Make sure he's changed out of that LSU sweatshirt, because I know that
It's
thing's
just
got to
covered-
stink.
just coffee stains and tear stains.
It's just that thing's really got to smell.
Damn little kids.
Yeah, make sure you're not 26 years old, because you might, I don't know, you might pull some Cajun voodoo on you if you do. He doesn't like young people, apparently.
Why? Because he's from Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is that a negative stereotype?
What that?
I don't care if it
voodoo
is.
do?
I don't care if it is. Anyway, Bell the Body Snatcher. He, as always, has been Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
This has been Libservative. And until next time, we are out of here.
Peace.